Hello, my friend. Welcome to another episode of the Back to Me podcast. And oh my gosh, this one is so good and juicy. I was talking with Cassandra, and I'm going to butcher her last name, so I'm not going to try it. But we were talking about how calming your nervous system can really help in so many ways, and energetically, and the what if your life could be as amazing as you want it to be, and what would an awesome life look like. And oh gosh, it was just such a great conversation. I don't want to ruin it for you. Have a listen. And of course, let me know what you think, my enchanted friends. I will talk to you soon. Hi, my friends. Welcome. This is the Back to Me podcast, and this is Heather, and I am super excited that you're here. You are going to hear some tips and some tricks and some ideas to help you live your happiest and healthiest self. I call it Back to Me because when you are taking care of yourself, back to me, then you can take better care of others, and we can all make the world a better place. This is Wellness Your Way, and I am super happy that you're here. Hello, my friend. Welcome. How are you? I hope that you're having a most beautiful day. This is Heather. This is the Back to Me podcast. And yes, we get to talk to another awesome human being today. Hooray. And oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this conversation because, of course, I love enchantment, my friend. My enchantment life coach friend, Cassandra. I don't even know how to say your last name. I forgot to ask you.
Oh, that's okay. It's Ciarallo or Ciarallo in Italian.
Ciarallo. I like it. I like
Ciarallo.
it. I like pretending that I can speak other languages.
Awesome.
Welcome. I'm so happy you could make it. And
I'm
you're
so happy
coaching
to
with
be here.
Cass. Is that
Yes,
right?
coaching with Cass.
Coaching with Cash. At Cash. Cash. No, Cass.
Ooh.
And, all right, enchantment. Can you tell us what an enchantment life coach is? Because this is my first enchantment life coach encounter.
Ooh, I love it. This is why I call myself an enchantment life coach to be a little different. Yeah, I love the word enchantment because that's really what I want to help women do is feel good from the inside out. And a lot of the women that I help are ones that are stuck in shoulds, stuck in listening to everybody outside of themselves and finding themselves at a point in their life where they're like, wait, why have I been working this job for 15, 20 years? Or why have I been doing this thing that I hate? Or why can't I follow what I want to do from inside, and why am I prioritizing all these other things? And I really help them connect with themselves, with their body, and activate their heart's desire. And
Right?
that's what I call enchantment. When we're following through on the things we really want to create, I believe it is enchanted with it.
And it's so funny. It sounds like, it's like I, Wizard of Oz, magical Harry Potter thing. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, enchanting. Oh, it's magic. But really, you don't have to be, I feel like it can be just a normal thing for you to actually have your heart's desire. But in the
Yeah.
beginning, I guess we have to feel like we can dive into that place of us that can have those daydreams and fantasies, for lack of a better word, right?
Yeah, I love that you said the word magical because there's this quote from this book by Sharon Blackie that she wrote called Enchanted Life. And I haven't read it yet, but I just bought it and I found this quote online from her book, and it says enchantment is not about magical thinking. It's about being present in the world. And that's really what I do with my clients. It's like in order to know what your heart desires, it's really about coming into the body and activating our sense of present awareness. Because what happens is we get stuck in these thinking, feeling loops that are keeping us in the past, and we're replaying the past over and over and over and over and over again.
Right?
And these patterns, that keep us stuck. And every time we come back to the body, that's the practice that I teach my clients. we bring ourselves back into the power of presence, the power of what is here right now. And through the body is where we can activate that sense of our inner knowingness.
And that's, I guess, calming the nervous system. The
Yes.
best way I know how to do that is through the body, right? Because
Yeah,
your brain and your body are intimately connected. So
absolutely.
it's easier to calm your body and have it calm your brain than I think to calm your brain and have it try to calm your body.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I think when you're calming your brain, it's how I interpret that is more you're changing the thought. And so when we're only working with the level of the mind and we're trying to change one thought to another, I find it doesn't always really work when we're not in sync with what's going on inside of our internal selves.
Right?
You can like say a new thought pattern over and over and over and over and over again, a million and one times. And I feel like when I started my journey of personal development and diving into this work, I was like obsessed with affirmations.
Right?
And then I'm like, why isn't this really working? Why isn't this really working? Because there's a glitch when we're not paying attention to the signal from the inside, right? We're saying a thought and then we feel bad about it. It doesn't matter how much you can auto suggest at the level of the mind if the body isn't in alignment. And so we want to sync up the mind and the thoughts with the body, but it needs to be in harmony.
Right? You
Mm-hmm.
can say all the mantras you want,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I've done it.
Yeah.
Like mantra, 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 mantra. But there is that deep connection to you have to feel it,
You have to feel.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. Like you do that when you are any visualizations, anything. So much research is showing you have to actually feel it to have it take root, take form, take flight,
Yeah.
however what you want us to say that. And I guess that's part of your practices are physical and
Yeah.
meditative or
They're meditative, they're experiential, I would say, because they're going into the body and there's something happening, right, inside of us. And sometimes for some of my clients, it's like they don't know how they're feeling. They don't know what is going on because there's pain in the body and there's so much resistance to what that is. So some of the first things I do with people is simply teaching them to be with what is present in the body. Like, how can we come to a place of noticing it without needing to change it? And when we can just be with what is and be that observer, right? That's kind of the practice of any, usually meditation is meant for us to be in that witnessing and observation place. And it's the same thing like when we're going in the body and we're feeling something or there's pain or there's resistance. And the thing is, often it's something that needs to be witnessed and hasn't been witnessed for so long. And so the emotion or pain becomes trapped. Like, emotion is energy in motion. And so when we give it space and we say, oh, I'm feeling sadness. I'll never forget this one moment. I was feeling empty and I didn't even know that was the feeling I was feeling.
oh,
And it was so much resistance in my solar plexus and my stomach. And I was like, how am I feeling? How am I feeling? How am I feeling? Like, and giving space for it to be witnessed. And this journey for myself, it's also taken me a long time to really uncover, like, what is that feeling?
right.
What is that? And when that day, when I was like, I'm feeling empty, it was like as soon as I acknowledged that feeling within me, oh my gosh, there was like this lift, and all of a sudden it just like kind of moved through me. And within 15, 20 minutes it just passed. And I was like, whoa,
Right.
Whoa. Because that was the first time I had such a shift with just really like not knowing what it was, but feeling this intense discomfort. And it's like when we feel discomfort, we want it to go away. We
Like
don't want,
immediately.
yeah, we're just like, what can we do? What pill can we take? What thing can we, you know, ingest in us or drink or whatever to just like make it go
Or
away?
social
And
media distraction,
or distracting ourselves,
right?
numbing it. Yeah. And so I teach my clients that it's okay to just be with it. And we don't always have to know what it is. That's okay. But the practice of being with it, we learn more and more. We discern what it is. We understand a little bit more of our inside journey. And then I was like, oh, I'm feeling empty. Oh my gosh, I understand why now I'm feeling empty, and it makes sense, and based on what I was going through during that time, and
Right.
it like illuminated so much for me. And so when we can do that, it's really a beautiful experience to help, yeah, to just find out what's going on from the
Right.
inside. Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to it's a strange connection I'm going to make here, but a sexual health and pelvic pain coach a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about how your body, like, you have an emotion that you don't want to look at, even if you're not aware of it or not, and you just push it somewhere. And she was talking about pelvic pain and how some of it is just like, I was talking because I've taught yoga for over 19 years. It's like, because when you do yoga, sometimes it comes out when you're doing pigeon, right? Stretching the hips and the emotion bubbles burst and come out. So she was talking about how you're pushing it and pushing it. And she said at some point, it's going to come out. And if you take that time to just be present for it, as you were like, just present for it, you don't have to know where it came from. Just say, oh, that is there. And I think it's interesting that you could actually feel it leave your body. That's so amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I love that example. Thanks for sharing that. It's
Yeah.
so relevant. Yeah, I think the body is fascinating. And when we can connect to it and understand, there's so much that we store in our cells, and there's so much information
Right.
from years and years that we have neglected to connect with. And
And you could even take it to, it's because you're where your cells originally come from, ancestry. Like, there
right.
could just be multi generational information that has trickled down, and maybe it's time to process
Mm,
it out, right?
yeah, absolutely.
So cool. And I was thinking about so calming the nervous system. I was thinking about meditation. Yes,
Hmm.
I remember I got my meditation facilitator a long time ago, and my meditation,
Cool.
yeah, around about the time I was started teaching yoga, and my teacher would always say, "Your thoughts are a parade. You're watching the parade. You don't have to join the parade."
I love that. I
Right? So it's
love
like,
that.
can you step off of the float and let it go with you? Or let it go by you. But I can also remember that because emotion can be powerful, right? If it's tied in with thoughts,
Yeah.
sometimes that's the hardest part to separate those two and step back from it. And I had this client one time who, now she had been in a car accident and she had a head injury, and so she
Mm.
sometimes had a different way of thinking. I found her so uplifting and interesting because she had such a fresh view of the world sometimes. But one day she saw a doctor across the road that she was unhappy with. And she said one of her hands started to make this fist, and she was going to run across the road and hit him. And her
Oh.
other hand was holding it. And she said, I had all this anger. I was so full of this anger. I was angry. I said, you can have anger, but you don't have to be anger. And like it just
Mm.
somehow shifted it all for her. It's like, oh, I can somehow step out of it. But it's like in that, thankfully, one side of her brain knew to stop her from going over and attacking
What
the
a
doctor.
story. That's so that's like power and control and resilience. And I really think that's that ability to like separate, kind of like
Right?
what we were saying earlier. is that witnessing role that we come to in meditation, where you can like separate yourself from the experience you're having right in the moment and be like, that is not me. I am
Right.
not that. And yeah, not identifying with
And
it.
don't give yourself a hard time if you find it
Mhm.
challenging,
Oh yeah.
because that's part of the process.
Yeah. I think it's, like a million and one times where we can just keep coming back, and it's training the monkey mind to sit still, right? And we're
Yeah,
just training and training and training. And I think the more practice we do, the better we get. Like that example you gave, she had the capacity in that moment to not act on what she was feeling because she was able to separate it. And I think
right.
that with more and more and more practice, we become that that we have the ability to control that, how we're responding, and we're not reacting based on what we're feeling.
Yeah, like you can have, because of the way we're built, you will have that initial, you'll feel that initial response because we are that, like evolution wise, you're going to have a response, but you don't have to jump on the bus with it, right? You can say,
Yeah.
oh, look, there it goes. So you can step out of
Yeah.
it. But there's that
It's
split
so,
second where you have to do that step
yeah,
back. And that does take practice. Oh my gosh.
totally. It's such a practice.
And like I'll hear people, I can't meditate, I can't sit still, it's boring, it's this, it's this, it's this, oh my mind, oh my mind. So sometimes I use the example because I used to run, and I ran, at some point, I ran 2 marathons.
Oh, wow.
But
Cool.
when I started running, did I try to just run out the door and run a marathon?
Right.
No.
No.
Oh my gosh, I would have died. I started with like, I would run for half an hour. And even then, I didn't run the whole time. I would like run a little bit and walk a little bit and run a little bit and walk a little bit until you start to build it up, right? So I think
Mhm.
of meditation as the same thing. Like when I started meditating, I've been meditating longer actually than I've been doing yoga, but that's a whole
Mm.
different story. I don't know why
Mhm.
I started with meditation. So I had a yoga therapist one point who said, you did it kind of backwards. I said, well, I like to jump in, but I could start like, I could do like 5 minutes maybe, because
Mhm.
I still have a very active mind. It jumps all
Mhm.
over the place. But when I sit, I've trained my mind now that when I sit on my cushion, it's like, oh, it's time to meditate,
Yeah.
right?
There's a
Oh, we're,
ritual there that you've
yeah.
created for yourself.
And when I need it, I can just say, okay, like I can call it forward when it's like, okay, something is spinning, let's pull it back. And I'm getting
Mhm.
anxious, let's pull it back. I'm feeling this, let's pull it back. And
Yeah.
I mean, am I perfect? Hell no. but
But you've built a practice, and I
but
think
I
that's what it is. Like everything is a practice, and you need to start somewhere, and starting small is so meaningful, even just a few minutes a day to get into the habit, right? Like keep
right.
building the tiny habit around sitting with yourself. And I love the analogy you gave about the, what was it? Not getting in the
The
carnival,
parade.
the
The
parade, the
parade.
parade. Yeah, the first time I ever did meditation myself, I went to a retreat center, and I was like, how do you get your mind to stop thinking? Right. And I feel like that was the thing. It was like, that's what everybody thought meditation was, stopping your thoughts. And the Buddhist monk was like, well, you're not stopping your thoughts. You're just watching them pass by like clouds. And I was like, whoa. And he was like, you're coming to this place of observing and not engaging with it. And that just shifted my whole world on it. And I hear still a lot of people saying, stopping your mind or stopping your thoughts. And I think that's where people get caught up. It's like, it's not about that. Keep coming back to the present moment. And that's where I find the body is the best tool to just
Totally.
come back down. There's so many different styles of meditation, like focusing on the breath, um, I like to come into the body, and that's sort of the style that I teach my clients based on the work I do. And
Well, and I mean, I think it's kind of like how many styles of yoga there are. There's a
right.
lot of different practices of meditation because on different days, like even I'll practice different ones at different points in
Mm,
life because I'm like, I feel like today I need a soham, which is a mantra, or I
mm,
feel like today I need to do a breath practice, or so it's like all the different styles of yoga. They're there because everybody needs their own individual practice. But let's not go there right now. But even meditation, like make it
personal.
yours. You're not going to do
Yeah.
it wrong. You can't do it wrong.
Yeah.
There's no wrong. And the body is such a great way into it because we live in it.
Mm,
And
yeah.
it's got a lot to say if you're going to listen. If you listen, it'll
Yeah.
tell you a lot of things. And what I've found often for people who are very in their heads, it's a whole different world if they start paying attention to their body.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Oh,
sometimes they
yeah.
don't know how to.
Yeah. Well, one of my clients that was is in my group, after the first class that we did, so I have a group course, she the next day was like feeling all these sensations in her body and pain, and she was like, "Oh my God, is this going to make me feel my body more?" And I was like, "Yeah, because you're going to get out of your head." And so it can be like a whole new terrain for people. It's like,
And I guess that can
"Whoa."
be scary for some people if
Mhm,
they've not paid attention to it.
mhm.
Like, would she have thought that is she going to be like, did meditation cause my body to hurt? No. Right?
It's always been there, honey.
Yeah, yeah. It's been there
You
the
just
whole
haven't
time.
paid attention.
Well, and so I just retired from massage. I did 14 years as a massage therapist, and I retired.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I
congratulations.
retired after 14 and a bit years at the end of 2022, December 31st.
Wow.
And people would come in pain and they'd say, well, why does it hurt? And I would, like, especially repetitive strain, it's
Mhm.
like trying to help them to understand that it's been hurting the whole time.
Mhm.
But in the one of the ways your body has to communicate with you is it doesn't have a language, like it'll use pain, and the less you listen to it, the louder it's going to get. So when it
Mhm.
hurts enough for you to notice, that's it shouting,
Mm.
right?
That's
And
a good way to say it. Yeah. Mhm.
and it doesn't mean anything's wrong. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means like, oh, I hadn't noticed this before.
Mhm.
So I would, when I was treating clients, they would say, "Oh, my damn leg." I'm like, "Oh, I love my leg." Is what
Yes.
you like?
Yeah.
Thank you, leg. Thank you for carrying me around. Let's
I
shift
love
that.
you. I honor you. I deeply respect and appreciate you. That's some of the language I share with some of
Right?
my clients. Yeah.
And I love so your group program. You're using that to help people get into that space of being calm, like finding a practice for themselves to calm their nervous system so that they are just can be better throughout their day, or are they trying to achieve something specific
Yeah.
usually?
So I have the three E's that are like the journey that I take people on to enchanted living and what I go through in my course with the different practices. And so the first E is embrace. And this is similar to what I already shared about coming into the body, starting to embrace what you're feeling in the moment and not going into story about it. Just keep coming back. And we develop a sense of presence with what is happening. Um, Also practicing being open to receive versus closed, because what happens is in life when we want certain things or we're moving towards things that we say we want, our body can naturally constrict, or maybe we have our shoulders closed and our heart closes down. And so teaching people to like open the body up and what it feels like to be in this space of more openness, Yeah, so embrace is the first E, and then embody is the second one. So everything we do is about coming into the body, but there's a few foundational centers we work with. One is the womb space, or the lower dantian, which is in the center of the pelvic bowl, which I'm sure you're familiar with. The
Oh,
dantian,
yes.
yeah,
Lots of Dantian work.
yeah. And that's your point of power, really, your point of presence. It's like anytime you're thinking thoughts on things external to you, your energy is going outside of yourself. And as you bring it back into your lower abdomen over and over and over and over again, you're bringing energy back into yourself. And I like to say, or what my teacher taught me, is that this is home in the body. And so really teaching people to come back to this point over and over and over again. And it's through a number of different embodiment practices where everything is really about how does it feel? What are we activating? Bringing that sense of power in the present, moving out of the conditioned past or fearful future that people can get stuck in. And then the third E is, what's the third E? Embrace, embody. Like, I need to know this.
Darn
I
know. Engagement? I'm just guessing.
No, it's energize.
Energize.
Yeah, that's a good word, but energize. Yeah, because as we keep coming back into the body, we learn what things are true to us. And when we're following things that we want, when we're saying yes to ourselves, when we're finding that what I call full body fuck yes, when we're aligning ourselves to the things that we want in our heart, there's so much life force that arises in the body. And so that's the energized part. Like, I help women really align to the things that they want,
Right.
and tune to a frequency that I call enchanted FM. So we can get stuck in gloomy FM, right? You can imagine what gloomy, yeah, like doomsday or woe is me, or, and when I say FM, because it's like we are listening to a radio station, but we're thinking and feeling in whatever that radio station is playing. And so, yeah, what would you hear on gloomy FM?
Well, all you got to do is turn on the radio and you can hear it.
Yeah. Just turn on the radio.
Turn on Fox News or something and you'll hear.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason I don't listen to mainstream media,
Same.
right? It's because I don't want to tune into the gloomy FM.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about this and this. And I know we were talking about Abraham before we came on, and Abraham is, the more you keep rehashing and rehashing and rehashing what you don't want, you are creating a vision of what you do want, but you're staying stuck in the I don't want. Where stop fighting, and turn in the direction of what you do want, and tune into Enchantment FM.
Yeah.
Right?
And I want to say one thing before I share the other FM station, but just on what you said, it's so fascinating because, like, there was this woman I was chatting with the other night, and she was sharing a problem with me. And I said, well, what do you want out of the situation? And then she's like, well, I don't want this, and I don't want that, and I don't want this, and I don't want that. And so I asked her again, okay, so what do you want? Again, she's like, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want this, I don't want that. And then after a while, like, so I listened, and I said, I'm going to just bring this up again, and I'm going to point out in a gentle way that I've asked you now 3 times, and you haven't even told me what you wanted. And so that's the thing. We get stuck in gloomy FM because we're always focused on what we don't want.
Right.
And it sounds so simple, but people, I don't even know if it's they don't know what they want or they're afraid to say what they want.
Probably.
In the conversation I had with her, she said, well, what is even possible? And I said, well, what if anything was possible? What do you want? And we can easily get in that tunnel vision of like, I can't have it. It's not possible. And yeah, this is the energize. Like, how can I help you tune to your potential?
Right.
Enchanted FM. And then reality FM is the other one. Gloomy reality. What's reality FM to you, Heather?
Now.
Yeah.
Like, this is right now. This is the reality. This is the space. This is my pen.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I can't tune into the enchantment. And
But people,
often
yeah,
people won't let themselves imagine how much they could have.
exactly. So
Right?
people who are stuck in reality is they're stuck in the inability to see the potential or
Yeah.
to be in that space of something could change. It's like the Groundhog Day over and over and over
Right?
again, where they don't think anything is going to change. And they're just basing their life on what they see in the reality or what they see on the news, and everything is terrible. Nothing's
Or what
going to
excuse they
change.
gave, right? What excuses they have. I can't because. This can't
Mm,
happen because this. I
yeah,
can't change this because this.
absolutely. Yeah. And they keep themselves really limited.
And there's a million becauses.
There's a million. Yeah.
I like the, but yeah, yes, that is reality right now.
Mm,
And
and it can change.
and it can change. And I'm choosing that way over there.
Oh, I
And
like that.
yeah, this is where I am right now. I'm on this thing right now, and I'm headed that way. Not that way,
Mhm.
not back for people who are listening. Not back, I'm headed forward.
Yeah, I
And
love
sometimes
that.
I trip and do a face plant and I go, oh crap.
Oh,
Time
yeah.
time to get up and dust off and go forward again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I love that. I love
My
that.
word
And
for 20
that's,
yeah,
mhm.
my word for 2023 is fun.
Oh, I love
And
fun.
yes, I don't it just came to me one day. I said my word is fun, and I've got it stuck behind my computer to say fun. Yes, fun, to remind me this is my year of fun. So if I do feel I get caught in some drama,
How do you
it's
make it
always
fun?
self-imposed,
Mm,
right? If I get caught in, and the drama is usually a story that's I've something has happened, I've created a story around it, and it makes me, a belief comes out of that. So I try to
mhm,
stop it before that happens.
mhm.
And I go, wait, this is the year of fun. So therefore, my
I love
story
that.
is,
Nice. What a
right?
good way to shift that.
Right? You've got
And
to have your
yeah,
tools.
you got to have your tools. And I'd love to share one
Yeah.
for people listening,
Yeah.
an easy way to move yourself out of gloomy FM or reality FM if you feel like you're stuck there, because I'm sure all of us listening, myself included, I can get stuck there, right? And so the easiest way to tune to enchanted FM is to say, wouldn't it be amazing if
Yes.
I feel like I say that and my energy just changes. I get
Right?
so excited, and it changes the vibration of everything. When I was learning this with my teacher, finishing up my program,
Yeah.
the embodiment training, I was in Colorado, and I was with another Canadian girl who we were sharing rooms with, and we had spent like a chunk of that day really playing in "Wouldn't it be amazing if?" So we were really feeling the vibes and feeling so good. And then that night we were at the hotel and we went into we were like, oh yeah, we're so excited, we're going to go into the hot tub. And we opened the door and we look and we have our bathing suits on and everything. We're going to walk into the room. Oh no, the hot tub was like filled with 5 people. And so we stopped at the door and we're both like, oh no, no. And then she stops me at the door before we go in. We were like going to open it. And she stops me and she's like, wouldn't it be amazing if? And then we both went back and forth for a few minutes, or maybe like 1 minute. Wouldn't it be amazing if we got the hot tub all to ourselves? Wouldn't it be amazing if when we walk in there, everybody leaves and we can just enjoy ourselves together? And we were just saying back and forth a few times until we felt really good. And then we walk in, and Heather, I can't even tell you how funny this is, because it was just like magic, right? Like these moments are like, wow, this stuff is real. Energy is real. And as
Totally.
we shifted our energy, everything shifted to align to what we were at. So it was literally like we entered the room and this happened. We walked in and one girl stood up. Like I have chills as I say it. Then the next person stood up. as we were taking off our jackets, we took off our shoes and whatever. And like all 4 of them or 5 of them got up, and then we went in, and then they left. And we got the whole space to ourselves. And
Right.
we were both like, oh my gosh.
You just manifested a hot tub.
It's such a simple example, but I feel like it shows the power of, we would have walked into that space being like, oh, now we're going to have to go into the pool and we don't get the hot tub, or,
Right.
oh, maybe, we won't stay as long or whatever. And it's so simple how easily we can get caught. We can get caught in one thought, then another and another and another. And so wouldn't it be amazing if, use it for anything.
Wouldn't it be amazing if we hit 1 million downloads?
Wouldn't it be amazing if we hit 1 million downloads?
Right? Oh my God.
Wow, that would be amazing. I feel really good about that for
Yeah, that would be
you.
so cool.
Wow.
I'm down with that. I love podcasting. I love all these people who come.
Yeah, wouldn't it be amazing if this goes viral?
Oh my gosh, wouldn't it be amazing if you became a huge influencer and changed the world?
I just like am letting that land.
I can see you like taking it. Yeah, my friends, dream big, because wouldn't it be amazing if your dreams did happen?
Yeah.
So don't dream small.
And this is where the power of what you feel is so important in aligning to the thought. And so, I invite everybody who's listening, based on what we just played with, to play with this statement. And like, I'm reading this book, Becoming Supernatural, by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he talks all about Dr. Joe. Yeah, I'm sure lots of people listening know exactly who he is, but he was paralyzed from the waist down, was told was never going to walk again, and he transformed his life. And he has countless stories in this book of people who were like, I had cancer and all these diseases and this and that. And it's using elevated emotions with an aligned thought to change the DNA and the cells in our body. As we change the body's environment, this is epigenetics. It's changing the structure of the cell at a DNA level. And simply by being in elevated emotions for a few minutes a day, so it's powerful, powerful stuff to change our life, because we get stuck in those negative thought patterns that are providing our body and being in a negative space, in a negative environment. And so it's not only the environment around us, it's the environment inside of our body.
Right. I think the inside one is the most important one,
It's the
right?
most important one. Yeah.
And I actually used that, although I haven't read that book yet. When I had I don't know if I told the podcast people this, when I had my stroke, I had, October 2021, October 29th, 2021, I had a stroke. And I had I had a dissection of my carotid artery, which means there was a tear in my carotid artery and in the lining, and it had closed the artery off, and there was a blood clot there, which is what caused the stroke. So when I came out of the hospital, I was on blood thinners. I was in the hospital for 4 days. And for the first little while, I was fighting with the doctors. No, I'm too healthy for a stroke. And then I went, Heather, stop being an idiot. They're doctors. You've had a stroke. Just be cool. I'm like, okay, I'm cool. And it was talking about distraction. It was a 4-day retreat because nobody could visit me because of COVID. And I couldn't see properly, so I couldn't use social media.
Oh, wow.
So I was alone in a silent retreat, except for getting my vitals checked every 4 hours. But so every day, my meditation, because I knew where it was and I knew what it was, every day I meditated. I was dissolving the blood clot. And I imagined, my friend knits a lot, I was imagining her knitting and closing up the tear in my artery. And so I did this like twice a day. I was doing this. Actually, I did a lot because I had to sleep a lot because the strokes are so tiring. And then when I had an MRI, probably 4 months later, my neurologist said, I can't even tell where it was. He said, it's completely healed. And there's nothing there. So there's not even a
Wow.
scar of where it was torn. It was gone. It's like, okay, thank you.
What a miracle.
Right?
That's such a powerful
Yeah.
story.
And
Oh my
I
God.
send light to that area of my brain that got affected because there's a couple little spots in my brain where the stroke happened. I'm like, no, they're fine. And I just light them up.
Mhm.
So it works, my
Wow. It
friends.
works. It
Right?
works. It works. Everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. So when you're
Yeah.
sending positive light, when you're imagining being healed, like, wow, how powerful that
Yeah.
is.
So awesome. So awesome.
Yeah.
And people can go and have a conversation with you. The enchanted chat. That's
Yes.
so good.
So I would love the chance to connect deeper with anybody listening or watching if you'd like to explore enchantment and have me hold space for you. And yeah, I call it a 30-minute enchanted chat. So you can go to enchantedchat.com and book your call.
That's so good.
And I'd love to meet any of you.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's awesome. And your group
Mm,
programs are pretty much ongoing.
they're ongoing. And then I
So,
work one-on-one
oh
as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
I love talking with you, Cassandra. It's so
Me too,
awesome.
Heather. This was
We're
such a
like,
fun
we're
conversation.
on the same page. We know what's going on.
Totally,
We're
totally.
making changes in the world.
Yeah.
But before you go, do
Mhm.
you have a final word of wisdom for our friends out here?
Mm. Yeah, I would say to start small. Take one little step. And if that means just meditating for 5 minutes or trying something for 5 minutes, even if it's the wouldn't it be amazing if, maybe taking a sticker or post it and putting that somewhere. Do something with what you learned today. Take one little habit or one step towards moving in that direction. Maybe that means just coming into your body for a few moments today and asking yourself, how do I feel?
Right?
But something that you were inspired by, I'd love to have you try it, and you can let me or Heather know how that goes. And
Totally.
yeah, you
I
can
would
also
love.
find me on Instagram at Coaching with Cass. I love
Okay,
Instagram.
cool.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
that's my website as well,
so
coachingwithcass.com.
I'm going to I'll have the websites on the show notes for the people who are driving and can't stop and write it down.
Awesome.
Don't crash your cars.
Don't do
And
that.
so we'll make sure it's all in the show notes so that you can grab all that information and have an enchanted chat, darn it, because life is completely enchanting.
Mm.
And, I look out the window and every day I say, wow, that tree is so amazing. Even though I see the same tree every day, it's like, wow, so cool. Life is so amazing, my friends.
Yes, it is, Heather. You are in Enchanted FM when you're seeing that, right? The
I totally
wonder
am.
and awe of life.
Yeah.
This is how we can reframe how we show up every day and see things differently. So,
Yeah. And if
thank
you can't
you.
find your enchanted FM, just call us.
Okay.
Call
Call
us.
us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was
Thank
so great talking
you.
with you.
It was honestly my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm
Thank
so
you.
grateful to be here with you. Yeah.
Thanks. My friends in podcast land, what if you could actually get whatever you wanted? Take
Mm.
care. I will talk to you next time. Hi, my friend. Thanks so much for listening to this entire podcast. If you found it useful and you're like me and you like helping others, please feel free to share this. Give it a like, give it a comment. If you found something useful in it, there's a chance that someone else will find something useful as well. Also, if you have any questions at all, I can absolutely help and I would love to help. You can email me at heather@prosperityflowcoaching.com. If you want more of this awesome content, you can follow me on Instagram, Heather Stewart Coaching. You can follow me on Facebook, Prosperity Flow Coaching. And I have a personal request. I want to help as many people as I can with these podcasts. And if you could give me a review, hopefully a good one, if you could share, if you could send this out into the world, I would truly appreciate it. I hope you have an amazing day. And I hope that you find your way to wellness by getting back to me. Take care, my friend.